Well, happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to the Simpademic. This is Jason, and I'm going to share something in the background of needing, as far as learning how to be attractive to other people. I think it's very important to have a diverse and balanced life. And in the case of men, that has often been referred to as the Renaissance man, of which I kind of sort of like claim to being one of. Men who can talk and can understand a wide array of subjects. And women obviously would be Renaissance women, but these are people who can talk with people about a wide array of subjects across varying interests, and can be skilled at some of them too themselves. And the reason why this came up for me is that I actually I am joining another small group at my particular church, and it's a social group. I usually had leaned towards a lot of the men's study groups, but I thought for one season I would take a little bit of a diversion. And I went to the first meeting last night, and something has struck me when I left, and it is this. I am the biggest devotee of Jesus Christ in the Bible that you may ever know. But do I talk about it 24/7, and do I talk about it on my social media all the time? No. Because there's a lot more to me than that. And I think it's important for between both either attracting people to the faith and attracting people to yourself. I think it's incredibly important on both sides to not be a one-trick pony or one-sided individual. So people who just talk nonstop about the Bible and Jesus and things of that sort constantly, despite my belief and my strong faith, my real strong faith, I don't think that's particularly attractive to the outside world. And I think if you're a single woman and that's all you ever talk about, you likewise are not attractive. Same goes for the men. This is not a one-sided subject by any means. But if you're a man and you talk about nothing but the Bible and God and things like that, I don't think you're particularly attractive. Now, in this particular group, we had our kickoff meeting, and a couple of the guys, struck me as very interesting people. And one of them, like myself, is a competitive bowler. He's actually much better than I am. I average around 175, 180, and he averaged last season about 225. Which, no matter how you slice it, no matter how you slice the way bowling scores have gone up dramatically over the years, that's still pretty good. That's still pretty bloody good average. Not gonna kid around with that one. 225 is very good in any era, any time, in any condition. The best in the world on some of the toughest conditions in the world, that's about where they are right now. It's about 225. But I mean, just the fact that even this guy's, he bowls on league conditions, so that's considered a lot easier than what professionals in the PBA and the PWBA do. But we had quite a bit of banter going on there, because obviously that's a connection. And people who have extra stories above and beyond that one particular thing that they are devoted to are just much more interesting people in general. And so, men and women, please expand your horizons. Be the key to being an attractive person, I think, is just being an interesting person. And being all about God and all about Bible and things like that all the time. I get it. It's a very important part of my life. I'm very much a committed Christian. I go practically every week. I volunteer as an auditorium host once a month. These are very important things. But even in my roles as an auditorium host, being able to talk about other things is very, very appealing. our smaller auditorium-ish has a back row, and every time there's an older person who will take a seat in the very back row, I'll make some kind of a joke about, oh, you're in the front row, which is an old Bob Uecker joke, by the way. And if they're an older person, they know exactly where I'm coming from. Because that used to be his punchline. It used to be one of his jokes. When he'd be sitting in the back of a stadium, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm here in the front row." It's kind of his catchphrase. So even within the church and the Christian realm, I try to make myself as interesting as possible. Because while God and the Bible to me are the pinnacle of who I am, they're not entirely who I am. Paul in the book of 1 Corinthians even said, he wanted to be all things to all men so that more might be saved. Even Paul didn't take the approach of talking about God nonstop all the time. He obviously talking about him a lot because he wrote several books of the Bible about it. But as far as being more relatable to people, just being a nonstop Bible, just talking about nothing but that, doesn't appeal to anyone. So please, and this doesn't even just go for Christianity as well, but I mean, even if it's just that one thing that you just hold on to tightly and talk about nothing else, expand your horizons and please talk about something different or learn about something different. Learning is also attractive, by the way. Learning about other things is very, very expands your horizons and makes you more appealing as a person in general, dating or not. So anyhow, thanks for hanging with me tonight. Thanks for getting to the end of this little rant. Be about more than one thing. In the Christian world, that means being about more than just talking about nonstop Bible, nonstop God, nonstop Jesus. To attract others into your life, either as friends or dating relationships, you have to be more than that. You just have to. Being that way, as far as Christianity is concerned, obviously, I think you probably know it doesn't earn you a certain amount of ridicule. Now, look, I don't care necessarily what a lot of people think, but I don't necessarily go out there purposely seeking ridicule either. So I keep myself very balanced, very wide array of subjects. I'm kind of a jack of all trades and master of none, which is a good place to be. So anywho, it's Jason and the Simpademic. Expand your horizons, folks. Really urge you to do that. Take a look at things and just learn how to be much more and being able to connect with people better that way. So anyway, this is the Tuesday night edition. Thanks for hanging with me. Tomorrow night will be the Hump Day edition. As I always say, peace out, homies.